Hello, hello, cosmic family. Charlie here. Today, I wanted to speak about this powerful solar eclipse that will be seen just over the United States and northern Mexico. And what's really interesting about this solar eclipse were a few things. There was one that was very similar that passed over in 2017, okay, 7 years ago. So it's actually on a 7 year timeline. And as you guys know, I channel seven, the Pleiadian seven. And this is not by chance. If you know anything about numbers, the number seven is a very, very special number. All numbers have a lot of power, but especially number seven. And especially at a time that we're at right now. So today I'm going to focus a little bit on what this means for the process of ascension, what this means at a greater global level, and at a sort of cultural societal level in the United States and beyond. Now, what's interesting about the United States is that the US is not, the center of the universe. However, it has influenced so much of modern day culture. It's also a country that was, even though it's quite new, it's only a couple hundred years old in comparison to other countries in Europe, other ancient cultures across the world that have been around for a long time. However, it's in a way the new Atlantis, all right? And it's a place that has been predicted about in ancient texts. And because of it, it holds a lot of power. And we see the incredible influence that the US has all over the world. I mean, I've lived, and if you've lived in other countries, but also even just traveled, you'll notice the great, great influence that the US has, for better or worse. And right now, unless you're living under a rock, you'll notice that incredible things are happening. People are waking up, but there's also a lot of darkness that's being exposed. There are a lot of strange things that the Matrix and the CABAL want us to believe and embrace. Some people call these very satanic and sort of dark beliefs, and I agree. And so what's happening is, and this is connected to the eclipse is, first of all, going to over a lot of towns with the same name. Okay, and this was the name of this town was was an Assyrian city, a very important. I believe it was like the capital of Assyria, and it held a lot of powerful cultural, religious value at the time, but also it was seen by God as a sinful place because something that happens is if we're not paying attention, this goes for people or for places, you gain so much power and then you sort of start getting drunk on that power and getting drawn to the dark side. So in a way, it is sort of what's happening with the United States. So this ancient city, the city of Nineveh, has a lot of significance now because now it's a bunch of smaller towns, but it's just so interesting that that's where the eclipse will be seen at. But in relation to what's happening in the United States, in a way, it's a warning. It is the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, source, saying, hey, pay attention. You have a lot of power in the world right now, a lot of power to move things in a certain direction. So, how are you using that power? Now, as many of you who are aware that we live within a matrix, you might say, well, the matrix holds so much of that power. That's what the matrix wants you to believe, that it holds the power. That this is the irony of it, it doesn't hide the fact that you're a slave. Okay, and we see this in the way a lot of these beings, entities, whatever, some people might even ironically call them world leaders wanna, that's how they've set it up, right? It's almost like they're talking down to us, like, oh, you peasants. And the irony is that we hold the power. We hold the power, right? And that's when we recognize that, that's when we unplug from the matrix and we say, oh my goodness, I have so much more power. I have the power that allows these people to get into power. And when you see that, it also makes you mad a little bit because then you see other people that don't see that and you're like, stop giving these people power. But anyways, so in a way, incredible things are happening. And I'm going to talk about this in another video. Maybe you've already watched that, about the energy portal that's opening between the lunar eclipse, March 25th, and the solar eclipse, April 8th. But at the same time, so it's magnifying wherever it is that we were at, and it's also moving a lot of action energy. But at the same time, it is warning us. It is warning people. It is saying, hey, on a personal level, pay attention what it is that you're wanting and what it is that kind of the conflicting beliefs that you have. But on a greater scale, it's also warning culture and society and saying, hey, are you really moving in a direction of light? Are you really building a society that is fruitful, that is joyful, that is uh, growing, that is challenging itself and it's expanding in a direction that is spiritually aligned, right? Are we doing that? Or are we moving in a darker direction, in a materialistic, degenerate direction? And you could say both, because there's been a lot more religious freedom that people in the United States experience. At least that's my experience growing up there. I don't live there anymore, but I see the influence of that culture outside of the US. At the same time, because I'm from the being outside right now, I also see the kind of how far people have pushed it and the damaging things and how uh, the degeneracy of some of the things that are happening in the culture, right? So this eclipse, you know what's really ironic is that I keep want to saying this apocalypse. It's a bit of a warning about the impending apocalypse. And what I mean is that if people don't pay attention, if people just look at this event and they say, oh, it's just a cool cosmic event, let me just put on glasses and watch it, then we're heading for an apocalypse, okay? Not to scare anybody, but we are heading for this strange apocalypse where we're going to be giving up more and more of our true power and freedom over to a small group of entities. However, if we do pay attention and we see the signal, and we are discerning, then we can really do something about it. All right. We can, at the very least, be on our toes about it and know that, hey, something is happening. This is not just, again, like some cool event, which, by the way, in addition to the eclipse, there is a comet that um, the path is like on a 70-year timeline, something like that. But I need to um, uh, go. I won't go more in depth into this, but this is very interesting as well. There's this comet that's also going to be um, traveling over. So anyways, a lot of interesting things happening, but it is a warning. I think on a personal level, it's quite wonderful. Even on a grander level, what's happening is quite wonderful. But at the same time, this is letting us know that we got to make some changes because we're at a point of rebirth. Okay, that's why this eclipse is happening during Aries, and Aries is very much about rebirth. I'm an Aries sign, and um, I definitely feel the action, but also the rebirth aspect. Now, the thing is about being rebirth is that if we're not really willing to let go of the old, if we're not willing to shed the things that aren't serving us, we can't really be reborn, right? We just keep adding on the weight of the past. But in order to be reborn, in order to hit refresh, we also have to accept the things that are not working and we need to address them. And we can't just rely on others to do it for us. And that's, I think, the trap with a lot of politics, because we say, well, I elected this person to help take care of stuff. The thing is, who are we really electing? Are they really doing that for us? Is there more that we can do? And yes, yes, yes. As people, there's more we can do. And it starts, of course, with us on a personal level. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up because there's more that's coming about these events, and I will continue to share it with you as much as I can. Um, hopefully before I give birth. Thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Be blessed.